So updated M4 MacBook Air. I will keep this short and concise as not a lot has changed, but it is still one of the best computers that you can buy. This now costs cheaper than before. This is $999 for the base price. That's obviously US. $899 with the student discount, which I think is an absolute no-brainer. Unfortunately, in Canada, our conversion, it's like $1,400, so it's like 1.4. Not as good of a deal, but still, like I said, one of the best laptops that you can buy right now. So with the initial unboxing, everything looks similar. I was actually in New York for the launch. You can see all the 4 different colorways. The biggest telltale sign is sky blue, which it's almost pretty much silver. You've still got the standard user manuals, warranty info, the matching sky blue USB-C cable to, of course, MagSafe, and this one you can kind of swap. So this one is the 35-watt charger. It's got the 2 ports, and you can get that up to 70 watts, and that is what's inside the box. And like I said, this new distinct color, it's super subtle. It's really nice. It's like a very pale blue. It's replacing the space gray, so you can still get it in standard silver, starlight, and midnight. But unless you had this and the silver side by side, I guess like sometimes when you kind of tilt it on axis to the light, you can tell it's very faint. I wish it was more saturated. Funnily enough, I've also got the updated M4 iPad Air video on this dropping soon. This is also in blue, not sky blue, and just like Apple likes to kind of tweak their color anodization process, there is a very slight difference between both. If you can spot them, kudos to you. So in case you're wondering, this has been out now for a while. There is a slight difference, so if you wanted to match them, you're SOL. But in terms of the rest of the design, you're looking at the same footprint. So there is still the 2 USB-C ports on one side. You've of course got the MagSafe connector on the other. Pretty much blank all throughout, and you just have the good old headphone jack. MacBook Airs are super thin, just like the name implies, very suited towards like traveling, being like an everyday student laptop. They're really lightweight. You can grab them in the 2 different sizes still, the 13 and the 15 inch. I've got the 13, and I think this is the perfect laptop to get for like 95% of people out there. So it's still got the same keyboard, chiclet style, still great large size trackpad. Of course, no speakers as those are all coming out internally. Same display once again, so IPS, it's their liquid retina display. The one big update to this is the camera, which is now being upgraded to share on what we have on the MacBook Pro. This is the 12 megapixel camera with center stage, so if you are that person that likes to move around, this will track you. In honesty, I don't use that half of the time for my FaceTime calls anyways. And that is, I guess, like the chassis of it. So the big change, like I said, is what's inside. So that is the new M4 chip. And if we talk about like performance, this is 2 times as fast as say M1. And I would say that's impressive, but in all, I would say Apple Silicon in general has been the biggest update coming to Mac. So if you're coming from say like an M1, you probably might not need an upgrade. I know people still running their M2 MacBook Airs that are totally happy with it. Like my dad, for example, he's got like an older based M2 MacBook Air. He's not even in the realm of upgrading for the next couple of years, to be honest, but this is really meant for someone that is coming from anything Intel based, from any like other Windows PC, or finally getting into the Apple ecosystem. This is the best laptop to buy. If you can get that student discount for $899, this thing truly shines. And the fact that it comes with 16 gigs of RAM over 8 gigs, which initially launched with the M3, this handles things like Apple Intelligence. Will you use a lot of those features? Things like Image Playground. How often are you going to be generating custom photos on device for things that you're thinking of? Maybe a couple times for a party trick, but where it really gets useful is like your everyday tasks. So obviously this is meant for a person that's just doing regular productivity, day-to-day, you know, watching videos, emails, Word content, stuff that you do as a student, but this is also super capable at editing video. Honestly, I've edited clips on this already, say just the social media stuff that I do. I'm shooting in 4K, I'm scrubbing through timelines, which is smooth. In the end, most people are shooting, say like on iPhone anyway for social. This crunches that totally fine. The biggest difference between this and say like a MacBook Pro is the rendering time. So if that matters to you, obviously the MacBook Pro is useful. I'd say the second biggest difference between the Pro models and this are the displays. That has ProMotion, it's faster, it's mini LED, it looks better. Obviously those features aren't coming to the MacBook Air, but this is a super capable device. If there's one thing that I would knock Apple for, they've come down in price to say $999. 16 gigs is the standard for RAM. 256 gigs is still the base storage option, and to upgrade that to say 512, Apple is charging $200 for a terabyte. It's an extra 200, mind you, you do get the higher GPU, but say for a fraction of the price for a smaller SSD, you can pay like $100 for a terabyte of space. This is probably the best option if you're looking for increased storage. This one is just from Lexar. I'll leave it linked down below. But that is maybe my only gripe with the new MacBook Air. If you're coming from the M3, M2, honestly, if you already have 16 gigs of RAM on those models, I wouldn't say that you need to upgrade. If you're coming from anything older, this is probably the laptop to get. And I know that it makes this video kind of boring. It's updated, but Apple just makes these so well. And for that cost, it's really tough to recommend anything else that can kind of compete with this. But let me know your thoughts down below. This is the upgraded, or I guess updated, slightly refreshed new MacBook Air. Get it in the sky blue, show off to everyone that you're rocking the new colorway and you have the latest and greatest. And the last thing is battery. So it's still 18 hours, which is great. Apple actually gave it a slight increase, so the wattage is a bit higher. I don't know if you'll be able to notice that in day-to-day tasks. Maybe you'll get an extra couple minutes out of Severance that you're watching. I won't spoil it for everyone. And the last, is this an upgrade? The last little Easter egg, the mute button has also been changed. If you can spot that, you're nitpicking, but to show off to everyone that you have the latest MacBook Air, you can tell them that your mute button is different. I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.